Good, how are you? I might not want to have this here. Oh, God.
Later in the season, right?
Yeah, later on, after a win. Oh, man. Okay.
That's true. We don't want to get you in the regular season opener with an unsettled start.
No.
Good.
Not what we're trying to start, you know. I mean, it's this has been a great camp. You know, we've really kind of grown as a unit, and you saw flashes obviously when we went into Miami with our majority of our starting group for 7 plays there, and we executed at a pretty good level there. That's what we were hoping to see when those guys went out there. That was the expectation. They did their job, went on the field, did what we were supposed to do. Now we got to go do it against better competition.
Liam, it's no secret that this team was last. We talked about it in rushing 2 years in a row. You never want to be last at anything,
No.
but we've seen, it's preseason. We've seen the progress.
Mm-hmm.
So what's made this team at this juncture? And I know you'll get better as the year goes on.
Yeah.
A better running team so far.
I think the buy-in from the guys of understanding that it truly takes all 11 in the run game, that it's not just those guys blocking or just the runner, that the receiver's part in it, the quarterback's part in it, buying in and being disciplined on our tracks. And if you're going to be good at anything, you have to be detailed at it, right? So you look at the detail that they have had and played with in the pass game here for years. It was always at a high level, always. And so what we try to do is take some of that focus and put it into the run game and say, hey, guys, if we're going to be good at this thing, we all have to buy in, and the guys did. Coaches did a great job of coaching us, thus far, and we got to go see what the results look like in a real game.
How has Grant Barton come along at center, being a rookie in this league and just seeing so many different things, especially playing against Todd's defense?
Yeah, he learns every day. He's learning something new every day, especially going against that defensive unit that we went up against all the training camp. And then to have Hainsey right there with him and being able to communicate him things that he's seen, right? I mean, those are experiences Graham hasn't had yet. But Hainsey's been able to give him some things to maybe look forward to and be able to kind of see in the future in some things. And then obviously he's going to learn on the fly in games as well. He's going to learn from every rep that he plays, and hopefully we'll take each game and take a step forward, and that's the goal.
When it comes to the secondary, last year they weren't good. They made some minor moves in there, but when you kind of look at there, what do you see that you can maybe exploit and kind of take advantage of with your receiving core?
Yeah, they're long. They got long DBs back there. They play the ball well. You have to be accurate with these guys, or you've got to win and be pretty open, because if you leave a ball inside or if we don't quite win on the route, then they have range and ability to make plays on the ball. So we've got to be good about that. We've got to be great about our technique and fundamentals and releases. Obviously, we've got a Hall of Famer that we need to play like one, which I fully expect him to do so, and to be able to dominate the game if we are getting one-on-one opportunities with him. And then if they are kind of putting the safety over to his side, well, other guys are going to be called upon to win. And like Coach Grizzard said in a meeting today, the wideouts, you get paid to win versus man coverage in the NFL. Right? I mean, that's the biggest thing. To score touchdowns and get paid to win in man-to-man situations. So when we're put in those situations, we've got to win, and we've got to be on time and accurate and protect and get the ball out.
Off of that, Dan Quinn's the head coach of the Commanders, and he played a lot of man coverage last year in Dallas, a lot of cover one looks as well. Not anything specific. When you're going as a team that both A, either plays zone or B, plays heavy man, what's the difference in your preparation between those two?
Just having different priority calls, right? Like your concepts and plays that you'll have in will be maybe a little bit heavily built towards their top lead dog coverages, while also having answers within those plays for their supplementary coverages. So if they're a heavy man team, well, we might have a couple man things, but also be able to have zone answers and vice versa. So we always say expect man, adjust the zone. That's kind of our thought process with anything in the NFL, right? It's even zone coverage oftentimes is played often like match coverage, like man coverage, especially when it's a fire zone. So that's how they play it. We'll see if they end up playing us in more single safety stuff or too high safety stuff, and then we've got to be able to run the ball.
How do you plan on rotating the running backs? I mean, we know that, Obviously, Rashad touched it 330-something times last year, maybe don't want that much of a little bit, but you've got two other guys that were really productive. So would you go strictly with a hot hand, or how do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, we want to obviously get guys involved, but Rashad's the guy. He's going to start the game, and he's going to keep playing, and Bucky will get his specific stuff and be able to play. And when Sean needs to go in there and give those guys a blow, he'll do a great job as well. We have full trust in all three of those guys. And ultimately, it's a long season, so it's hard to I've done 3 back rotations in the past, and man, that gets exhausting for a coach, for a play caller, because now it's like, all right, who's in the game? What are they good at? What do you want to do with them? Ultimately, man, it's Rashad's show, and Bucky and Sean are going to get a lot of work and hopefully be efficient and do a great job when they're in there.
Baker said that he feels like playing your offense, there's an answer for everything. How much can you, as a play caller, draw on your own personal experiences when you're standing there in his shoes and you know some of the obstacles that can arise? Yeah,
you've maybe not experienced it in the NFL as a player, but the pitfalls of playing quarterback and just not wanting to get at the line of scrimmage and not have solutions is an empty feeling. It's a very lonely place to be. So at the end of the day, we've tried to give these guys parameters that they have, that they can get up to the line of scrimmage with, and ultimately not feel like we're stuck. And everything. This is a chess match, right? Everybody wants to get the pen last, and ultimately that's what we're trying to do, without taking the freedom away from them to just go play and let it rip. So that's a fine line, right? It's how much we're giving them versus how much is going to slow them down. Ultimately, we want to try to give them as many answers as possible, though.
What have you seen out of Chris Godwin so far this offseason training camp? You mentioned that he'll be in a similar role as Cooper Kupp was for you guys. You look at Kupp, same age as Godwin when he won that Triple Crown a couple of years back. What do you expect out of him, and what are you looking for?
I expect a big year from Chris. He's had a great offseason. He's been so steady, so consistent. Every single day the guy shows up to work and has the same demeanor, mindset, mentality. And then he goes out and practices his tail off. Like, the guy doesn't take a rep off. He doesn't jog through. He doesn't loaf. Everything he does is pros mentality. And I expect it to show up. I think it's going to show up for him. I think he's feeling better. You can see his balance is better. He doesn't feel like he has to cut off one leg. He has better balance. He has better feel. And I think his physical attributes and tools are going to take over, and I expect him to have a good year.
What about Mike Evans? He said that he feels like he still has more to give.
Yeah.
He says he feels like he left some plays out there even this past year, despite the fact that he, for the first time in his career, tied for the league lead in touchdowns.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think he's just a guy that you don't really realize how good he is till you get with him in person, and then realize, oh wait, how smart he is. Like, the guy calls out coverages before the snap happens. Like, he'll say it aloud. He calls out coverages all the time. So he has seen so much because of how people have to play him, that he has seen so many different variations of double coverage and in and outs and thin clouds variations. So that's something that goes into play with our game planning, because we have to figure out how teams are going to play him, and which then is a little bit of a different weapon for us to be able to, A, use them to win, B, use them to decoy.
Underrated as a route runner too, right? I don't think they can.
Very, very. I think his ability to get in and out at the top of routes, his short area quickness for a big guy is pretty special. And then obviously the ability to throw the ball kind of wherever and opportunities to give him chances to make plays away from the defender. That's pretty special for a guy his size.
How about the O-line?
Yeah, I would say. That was something, the first rep he ever took here with me in our offense this spring was on a route that we actually have in the plan this week. So, and he got in and out of it so quick, and I was kind of taken back, especially when you get up close with him, see how big he is, and then be able to see him move the way he does. That's pretty special.
About the O-line, like, okay, Bredesen is new, Graham Barnes a rookie, Mark's in his second year, tackles seem pretty solid. How much on the playbook are you able to give this O-line here game number one, or is it going to be more, a work in progress, you think, as the season goes on?
I mean, we've kind of thrown the kitchen sink at these guys, since day one. So they've handled it. each team's different. Each defensive structure is different. The way these guys, this defense is a little bit interesting because you've got Dan Quinn coming from Dallas with that system. You've got, I think it's Daryl Tapp is the defensive line coach who came from San Francisco. So you've got that mindset and mentality of getting off the rock and really penetrating front, but also with a Dan Quinn defensive back end. So how they mix that will be interesting to see. So we've got to have different ways of hitting blocks each week because of each defense gives you different things. So we've given these guys a lot. I mean, there's a lot on their plates, multiple different schemes, zone, gap, trap, pin and pull, whatever it is. So we're not going to just line up and be vanilla.
Is there anything that has surprised you with this group of guys on offense, or maybe exceeded your expectations since you started calling plays?
I think probably their eagerness for more, their eagerness to learn, their eagerness to grow their football minds and continue to learn the details and fundamentals and techniques of their position and of their crafts. Like we've got Hall of Famers, we've got all pros, we've got some really good players, but they're still trying to get better each week, each day. And that's been kind of not a pleasant surprise, but that's just been nice to have is a group of guys that have had success, have been on Super Bowl winning teams, but are still yearning for more.
The offense wasn't able to score first drive touchdown at all last year. How much of an emphasis has you put on that? Obviously, we saw in the preseason, they went out and accomplished that. But how much of an emphasis is that? Obviously, you want to score every time you touch the ball,
Right.
But what do you kind of do to get that so it actually transpires?
Yeah, we'll try to be creative within, the first 15 or 20 calls, right? I mean, those are specific plays that we kind of talk about as a staff to kind of group together and get the defense on their heels a little bit and throw different looks at them to just give yourself an advantage and also be able to see what they're presenting as well with some of those plays. So it is very important for us to start fast. We've got a top 5 defense in the NFL. So if we can start fast and get ahead and play from ahead, typically good things happen. So and the style of play that we want to play with, that helps when you can jump out and play fast and get ahead early.
The role of motion
Last one.
in the run game, especially with jet and
Yeah.
stuff, what do you like about it? It seems like the team is doing a lot more of that,
Yeah, I mean,
in
it's
particular
almost-
with the run game this year.
Yeah, it's almost every play. So, it's funny. The strength and conditioning staff had asked me in the off season, how much of these wideouts going to run, and I said, well, we're not going to kill them in routes on air or in plays, but they're going to run a lot. They're going to run a lot more than they've ever run, and that's pre-snap, post-snap, motion, shift. So it's all we don't just do it to be cute. We don't just do it to say we do it. It's to undress coverage. It's to undress pressures. It's to get man zone indicators. It's to gather information. We say GTS, go to school on the defense. And to try to gain information for our guys to say, okay, we just did that motion. This is how they responded. I can maybe rule out a few coverages or defenses pre-snap, so now I have a better idea of how to go execute this play. So that's the whole point of it.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Cool. Thank you, guys.